Hi friends, today my topic is history of cigarette. Let's start. The origin of tobacco use is unknown but may have been used since at least 5000 BC. But certainly smoking existed in the pre-Columbian Americas among civilizations like the Maya and Aztecs, as well as in some tribes in North America. It was used at least partly for religious or ceremonial reasons. After the first European contact with Americas in 16th century, tobacco was brought back to Europe and recreation use began. After that, consumption, cultivation and trading of tobacco quickly spread, this later being re-exported to Americas. Surely, you need something to hold the tobacco if you are going to smoke it, something to contain the smoke and allow the users to draw it into their mouth and lungs. Simply putting it on the ground, lighting it and trying to inhale the smoke would be incredibly ineffective, as the smoke would disappear into the air. So you need a container, and a tube shape is obviously the most practical. It focuses all the smoke into the mouth, and the act of drawing on the tube helps to keep the smoldering tobacco alight. That tube could be a pipe which doesn't itself burn and therefore can be repeatedly filled and reused, or it could be some kind of combustible tubular wrapping, hence the cigar and the cigarette. Evidence of direct smoking before the 16th century is contentious, with pipes thought to have been used to smoke cannabis, dated to the 10th to 12th centuries found in Southeastern Africa. Cigarettes appear to have had antecedents in Mexico and Central America around the 9th century in the form of reeds and smoking tubes. The Maya and later the Aztecs smoked tobacco and the other psychoactive drugs in religious rituals. The cigarette and the cigar were the most common methods of smoking in the Caribbean, Mexico, and Central and South America until recent times. The North American, Central American, and South American cigarette used various plant wrappers. When it brought back to Spain, maize wrappers were introduced, and by the 17th century, fine paper. The resulting product was called papillate and is documented in Goya's painting. Popularization of cigarette. Smoking became popular when a Frenchman named Jean Nicot, from whose name the word nicotine derives, introduced tobacco to France in 1560 from Spain. From this it spreads to England. The report of a smoking Englishman is of a sailor in Bristol in 1556, seen emitting smoke from his nostrils. Like tea, coffee, and opium, tobacco was just one of many intoxicants originally used as a form of medicine. By 1830, the cigarette had crossed into France, where it received the name cigarette, and in 1845, the French state tobacco monopoly began manufacturing them. The French word was adopted by English in 1840s. Some American reformers promoted the spelling cigarette, C-I-G-A-R-E-T. But this was never widespread and is now largely abandoned. The first patented cigarette making machine was invented by Juan Nepomuceno Adorno of Mexico in 1847. However, production climbed markedly when another cigarette making machine was developed in 1880s by James Albert Bonsek, which vastly increased the productivity of cigarette companies, which went from making about 40,000 hand-rolled cigarettes daily to around 4 million. More widespread cigarette usage as well as increased life expectancy during the 1920s made adverse health effects more noticeable. In 1929, Fritz Linkind of Dresden, Germany, published formal statistical evidence of a lung cancer tobacco link, which subsequently led a strong anti-smoking movement in Nazi Germany. The subject remained largely taboo until 1954 with the British doctor's study, and in 1964 until United States Surgeon General's report. Tobacco became stigmatized, which led to the largest civil settlement in the United States history, the Tobacco Masters Settlement, shortly called MSA, in 1998, but enormous challenges remain. Tobacco use is still the number one cause of preventable deaths in the United States, killing more than 480,000 Americans or 1 in 5 deaths, and costing the nation $170 billion in healthcare bills each year. Tobacco kills half of its user. Tobacco kills more than 8 million people each year. More than 7 million of those deaths are the result of direct tobacco use, while around 1.2 million are the result of non-smokers being exposed to second-hand smoke, in which 65,000 are children. Around 80% of the world's 1.1 billion smokers live in low and middle income countries. Among smokers who are aware of the dangers of tobacco, most want to quit. Counseling and medication can more than double a tobacco user's chance to successfully quitting. Tobacco users need help to quit. Studies show that few people understand the specific health risk of tobacco use. For example, in 2015 Global Adult Tobacco Survey in China revealed that only 26.6% of Chinese adults believe that smoking causes lung cancer, heart diseases and stroke. Women are also targeted by tobacco industry, and tobacco companies continue to produce brands specifically for women. Marketing around women is dominated by themes of social desirability, empowerment and independence, while are conveyed cigarette smoking causes diseases and harms nearly every organ of the body. Nicotine is also highly addictive. About half of cigarette smokers die of tobacco-related diseases and lose an average 14 years of life. Smoking is the number one cause of lung cancer. It causes about 90% of the lung cancer cases. So we must try to avoid smoking. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.